Hey fellas, Escarpment River Hollow here. I come across this ad or this article from the paper I'd put back a long time ago. Whenever, heck, I forgot to actually look. Let's see, it's July of 1992, and it's well driller opens a cave in Milltown Marengo area. Randall Stevenson of near Marengo, who runs a well drilling and repair business, has opened a cave in the Hogtown area located between Milltown and Marengo. "I don't know a lot about caving," said Mr. Stevenson, "but I do know I have found a live cave containing stalagmite crystals and running water. But sorry, folks, I didn't find any bear's teeth as found in the new extension of the Marengo Cave National Landmark, Indiana National Landmark. However," he says, "a bone of some kind was found. The cave was entered by my dad, Tim, and by me, Matthew, and by our neighbor, Mr. Jeremy LeBaron of New York City. It's a heck of a hole," said Jeremy. "I just love it." Stevenson says opening operations are continuing by using dynamite and jackhammers. "I am open for suggestions from any cave exploring people known as spelunkers. I believe if developed, this could possibly be a cave tour. A tour cave. Stevenson has been working this cave opening project since 1981. That was the year I was born. The new cave will be named the Old Lincoln Hill Trail Cave. It's actually called the Old Lincoln Trails Cavern, because it is thought to be located by the Old Lincoln Trail, which that's what they named the highway. Opening work is being continued by Mr. Novak and Son Excavating. We expect a lot more to be seen in this newly discovered cave." That was me on the left there in 1992. That's my dad there in the center. That's Jeremy there on the right. They're crawling in the cave. Now it's about a 15-foot straight drop through a crevice or a slit, and then you're in like a dome when you drop in, and you go left through a crawl space. You can kind of duck walk for about 10 to 15 feet, and then it opens up to another dome that goes all the way up to a big rock, and you can see a crack and you see daylight. It's just a huge limestone rock up there, and it joins up with another huge limestone rock, and then a crack you can see through the ceiling. And there was like pockets on the left and right with stalactites. And then it goes back probably 30 feet, and there's a probably a 12-foot size swimming pool that has about 2 foot of blue water in it, blue-green water. And from that point, you have to go under the water, under a shelf, to go any further. But the cave always has water in it in this little pond, so you'd have to go snorkeling or have a hookah go in, and nobody's actually ever went past that point. I've been down in there 2 or 3 times. It's actually has washed out a second layer below us, where when you're doing your duck walk, you can look down and see water running underneath of you. So, alright, I'm going to give you a little local locations here where everything's at, so you get an idea. I guess first off, I'll show you up here on the computer here, right where that cave is at. Right here. Hang on, let me zoom in here. Alright, here's Hogtown right here. Milltown's to our right, which is east, down by Louisville, Kentucky. That cave that he opened up is right about here where the L and N is. See them little dotted lines? There's like a couple little dotted lines. And this is over here on this side of the highway. Another individual owns. There's a sinkhole pit cave. And it is believed that right here on, this is called Cedar Fork, not Cider Fork. It's called Cedar Fork. They just spelled it wrong. This is here Cedar Fork, which comes down, and it is believed because of this stair step that it possibly goes under here at one time when it, I guess from glaciers or whatever, and it's actually backed that area up. It actually backed up right in here, you know what I mean, and blocked it off, and then it had to be diverted. Now, the other day when we went in, I went to that local spring cave. It's right here by this 600 right here. There's 600. And then back in March, whenever I went in the cave exploring, but I didn't have nobody with me, and I was scared Bigfoot was going to come up, sneak up behind me after he woke up out of hibernation. That's right here in this wall. Let's see. I don't have the elevation on here. This is a really tall hill. It's right here in this hill. And then right over here is Marengo. And right here at this 650, that is Marengo Cave. It's a national landmark. Alright. And then, oh, whenever I was telling you about that a Richter set high tension tower, let me go back down here. See, we were right here, and I was telling you I seen Bigfoot leaning against that high tension tower, where that I told you there's a mound right up here. Remember there was three mounds, 1, 2, 3. That's not a good representation because that's huge compared to what they were. But that mound is like right up here on top of this hill right here. And I don't know if you guys ever heard me talk about Fake Mountain, aka Titty Hill. That is right here. This right here is Titty Hill. It's what the older guys above me and on the school bus used to call it. Was Titty Hill. I always called it Fake Mountain because I get in trouble for saying titty back in the day. So, and that's giving you an idea here on the topographic. All right, now I'm going to show you county-wise. All right, back out maybe. Yeah. All right. County-wise, we are right here. This is Marengo Cave. That cave is right here. This is my house. Right here at this place. Alright. Right down here is Wyandotte Cave, where the Indians used to mine the flint. It's 22 miles long. Alright. And that is in the Great Horseshoe Bend of the Ohio River. This is dead center of the Ohio River, from Pennsylvania to the Mississippi River. Right here, this is the Great Horseshoe Bend. Here's Wyandotte Cave. Alright. And Indiana Caverns is right over here, and it's 32 miles long. Or Binkley's Cave. And Squire Boone's Cavern, which was Daniel Boone's brother, he's got a cave right down over here. He found it hiding from the Indians back in 1803 or something like that. I don't remember the exact date. Alright. And then the largest spring in Indiana, which pumps out 3 million gallons a second, is right here. It's huge, man. It's huge. Alright. So we follow the Great Horseshoe Bend right up this pink line here I drew. We'll go through Wyandotte, through Marengo. Alright. And right here is my mom's place. Well, it's actually on this side of the road here, but that is what I was pointing out is that's the horseshoe bend of Blue River, the Great Blue River. And this 66 has what's called 7 Mile Cave. There's a cave system that runs all the way down the whole length of this road. This road's only 7 miles. And there's a cave system that runs all the way down the length of this. So what the hopes was to connect some of these caves together. Alright. But if you follow that straight line up, you go in between Beck's Mill Cave, which is on the Blue River, and then you got Spring Mill Caves is over here. They got 2 or 3 caves over here in Spring Mill Park. It's on this side. Alright, now if you went from Squire Boone, went through Marengo Cave, and you come up here through Paoli, you got right here in this orange blue dot, you have the second largest spring in Indiana. The second largest. And it's called the Orangeville Rise. And then you got the Lost River Cave System, which is, they don't even know how long it is because it comes up whenever it floods. People's sinkholes fill up and then they go down. So the creek, the Lost River goes up and down. It's all over the place. It's more like a lake under the ground, if that makes sense. And then right up in here, and I forget the name of it, is the 3rd largest spring in Indiana. So, just giving you guys an idea. There's a lot of caves, and the escarpment is pretty much, it comes up through Blue River right in here, and then once you get close to Milltown Marengo, it kind of goes this way. So it comes up and then it kind of goes this way. And they say that this cave system and the escarpment goes all the way to Mammoth Cave down in Kentucky. The largest cave system, I think it's in the world, is down there. And this cave system used to go all the way down through there. And then, yeah, this is all high bluff down through there. And then over here in New Albany, you got the Falls of the Ohio is right over here, and that's the Buffalo Trace, the old Indian road where they were hunting the buffaloes. Daniel Boone followed it up through over in here through Kentucky, and that was called the Wilderness Road on this side of the river. And then once you go on Indiana side, it's called Buffalo Trace, and it kind of follows 150. The escarpment does kind of follows it. And there's now, I mean, there's a lot more information, there's a lot more interesting stuff up in here. It goes all the way over to the beginning of all of these. This escarpment goes all the way over where Hoosier Hillbilly 22's at. That's the beginning of the escarpment on that side that comes in, because that was the Wisconsin glacier that pushed in, or the Illinoisan that pushed in this way, and then you had another one that kind of come down this way, or down, or something, you know. And whenever it eroded out, the glacier melted, it undercut all this and washed it out. Now at Crawford County, well, not just Crawford County, but parts of Washington, which is up here at Spring Mill Park. See, Beck's Mill, that's in Washington. Over here is Harrison. And then Crawford didn't get touched by the glacier whenever it melted away, because the terrain, it kind of V'd around us on both sides of us. And we're kind of like a island in the stream, I guess, as Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers say. We're an island in the stream. We're the, yeah. Sorry for the punt, you know. And here's Hemlock Cliffs, where we went down. I went down that big sinkhole. It was a giant sinkhole. I went down in there and had them great big waterfalls. I don't know if you guys seen that video or not. That's where I found that Kalijah died in 1492. That's right here in this giant Cinco. It's a big ass Cinco. And then you got Buzzard's Roost. And yeah, and yeah, just Perry County and stuff over in here, Derby. Um, but yeah, you got here's Corden, Indiana's first state capital, and you got the historic battle, Civil War Battle of Corden was right here. It started down here at Brandenburg, and they fought up Mockport Road, and they captured Morgan's Raiders captured Corden, and I was my great great cousin or uncle was I guess he'd be a cousin or an uncle or whatever, and he actually got captured twice. He was in they were called the Hoosier Wildcats. They were a cavalry, and they would shoot at Morgan's Raiders over here, and then they'd shoot and then backtrack, shoot and backtrack, and anyway they got surrounded, and then they took them over here to Laconia, and they spent the night over here in Laconia school, and then he had to sign an agreement with Morgan's Raiders of the Confederacy that they would not take arms against the Confederates or even speak illy of them ever, and then they let him go, let him keep his rifle, but took everything else, his shoes and his mare, and then he went back. My cousin Francis Marion, he went back over here to Corden, and then Morgan's Raiders come up here, and then they captured Corden, and he actually got captured twice in the Battle of Corden. I think there was only 11 people that actually happened to, and it was the first major battle north of the Mason-Dixon line in the Civil War. The first battle that actually happened in the Civil War north of the Mason-Dixon line was it's over here somewhere. I'm not seeing the name of the little place, but this is for my town, my county, so they don't really list everything. But I'd say it's over here close to the Civil War riverboat thing. But I didn't think it was a magnet. It wasn't Derby. I'm just not seeing it, fellas, and I can't think the name right off. But there's a place down here that it was a hospital, and they come across and they act like they had a cannon. They took old chimney pipe, old blackened chimney pipe, and they made it look like a cannon, and then they rode like 30 guys, 30 Civil War guys rode right into town. And then they went to the bar, I guess, and they pointed up there and they said, "Look, you see that cannon right up there? We're getting ready to blast this town to oblivion if you don't surrender." And the town surrendered, and they took all their supplies, a lot of guns, and they had medicine, because they took the local militia's guns, and they took a lot of medicine, because that was the second largest hospital at the time. Yeah, and then the Knights of the Golden Circle, they come over here somewhere it was between Rome, Derby, and Magnet. There's Mono Point. They come up through here somewhere, and they went to French Lick, which is, here's Cliff. It should be, French Lick should be, all right, there's French Lick right here. That was the leader of the Knights of the Golden Circle in this area, which they were actually called Copperheads. Copperheads were thick in this area. And they were Southerners acting like Northerners, and so yeah. And then it was called Heinz Raid. It was the spy that Morgan's Raiders sent up here beforehand before he attacked. Come up here. He went to French Lick, talked to the Dr. Bowles. I'm thinking Dr. Thomas Bowles, but Dr. Bowles, he talked to him, and then he got the militia from Paoli got suspicious, and they chased him over to Fredericksburg, which Fredericksburg was a runaway slave type town, and there were a lot of African Americans lived here. It was their whole town was basically African Americans at the time. And when Hines came down here, he burned out a bunch of houses, and then he fled back down to Leavenworth, down to here. And they captured a bunch of his troops. I think he had 63 or something. There were 63. By the time they all gathered up down here, there was like 63 of them. And they, right here where Blue River comes in, right here, there's a Blue River Island here. And then over in here, there's what's known as Upper Blue River. So they were up in here somewhere close to Upper Blue River because they tried to flee on the Upper Blue River, and a boat came up with a it's not really a cannon, but it's like a cannon. It's like a 6-pounder or a 4-pounder. They called it something else, I think, like a turret gun. And he held them captive right there, and he made them throw their guns in the river right there on Upper Blue River Island. There should be a whole bunch of Confederate rifles. Confederate rifles should be laying right there. And they actually had it wasn't an ironclad, but it was a tin-clad, which was a boat that had been fashioned with armor plates. And it had six 24-pounders or 6 24-pounders, I think, come down here and was firing until he ran out of ammo. So over in Brandenburg, they were on both sides at that time because they'd already Morgan's Raiders had already got some troops across on both sides. He had 2,500, and then I think by the time he ended up getting across, he ended up having 5,000 because another guy came up behind him with another 2,500. And they fired this place up. So there should be a lot of cannonballs. If Aqua Chigger wants to come up here and look for them, he can find some of them Indiana cannonballs, and there's some of them Kentucky cannonballs right over here. I guarantee it. And the Alice Dean paddle steamer, it sank right over in here too, because that's what Morgan's Raiders used. They captured this other boat, which was the cousin of Captain Morgan's lieutenant or something, had this boat, and they captured it. And then they act like they were wounded, and they flagged down the Alice Dean, the other paddle wheel boat steamer, and then they commandeered it. And then they were shuttling their troops across the river right there. And that's just some crazy history, fellas. I wish I was better at making these videos and stuff. I just like knowing all this stuff. I know it, so I want to tell it, you know what I mean? And my whole life I wanted to get the hell out of here after college, and then later on found out I was in the heartland of it all, right in the crossroads. Right there's a big X right on the screen, right on the map where I was at. It all went down right here. Heck, I think Caveman walked out of the cave right here. I swear, because this is as high up as you can go in the caves, because the glacier was above it. And why not? I think the Caveman walked in the cave at Mammoth Cave and walked all the way up dang near to Lake Michigan, underground. Because if he came up, T-Rex or Pterodactyl would eat his ass up. That's what I believe anyway. But, this ain't about opinions. Everybody's got one. Kind of like Anyway, I'll catch you guys later, and ladies. Thanks for entertaining me and putting up with my long-winded ramblings of incomplete thoughts. Just a meandering. Alright, later guys.